Have you ever heard a song, smelled a perfume, or seen an old photo? And suddenly, a whole memory came rushing back. Your brain does that using tiny triggers called retrieval cues. In this video, you'll learn how retrieval cues help you remember by exploring priming context-dependent memory and state-dependent memory. Let's start with the big idea. Retrieval is the act of bringing stored information back to mind. It works best when something at the moment of recall matches something that was present when the memory was first formed. You can think of memory like saving a file with extra labels attached. Those labels might be words, places, sounds, or even feelings you barely noticed at the time. This is where retrieval cues come in. A cue is anything that helps trigger a memory by matching those original details. One way this shows up is through priming. Priming happens when one idea activates a related idea without you trying. For example, after reading a story about dogs, the word bark is more likely to make you think of a dog rather than a tree. Importantly, priming isn't magic, and it's often not conscious. It simply means one memory pathway has been warmed up, making related information easier to access. It's also important to avoid a common mix-up. The cue is not the memory itself. Instead, think of a cue like a map pin. It helps you find the memory faster, but it isn't the memory. So far, we've covered how retrieval works, what cues are, and how priming helps activate related memories. A strong cue connects the moment you learn something to the moment you need to remember it. Want to remember this technique long term? Tap the link for Quizlet study tools. Then jump back into the video. Lock in what you learned and keep going. Now, let's build on that idea by looking at how your surroundings can act as cues. Context-dependent memory means the external environment can support retrieval. When your study setting and test setting match, the environment itself can help trigger memories. For example, imagine studying Spanish words in the library. Later, being in a similar space with shelves, quiet surroundings, or even the same type of table can help bring those words back. Of course, you won't always take a test in the same place you studied. That's why a helpful strategy is to study in multiple environments. This way, your memory becomes linked to a wider range of cues. As a result, a new test setting is less of a problem. Your brain has several paths back to the same information, instead of relying on just one. But cues aren't only external. They can also come from within. This brings us to state-dependent memory, where your internal state helps you recall information learned in a similar condition. For instance, mood can act as a state. When you feel nervous, you may more easily remember other nervous moments. When you feel confident, positive memories may come to mind more easily. However, not all internal states are helpful. Some can actually interfere with attention and encoding, making learning less effective. That's why it's best to study and practice recall in a clear, focused state. So, how can you apply all of this? Here's a simple approach. Choose one topic. Attach meaningful cues like a diagram or example. Practice recalling it, then change one cue and try again. For example, when learning mitochondria, connect the image to a simple phrase like energy for the cell. Then close your notes and explain the idea from memory. One common mistake is relying on rereading. It may feel familiar, but familiarity isn't the same as recall. Retrieval practice shows whether you can actually bring the information back. Ultimately, strong remembering isn't just about storing facts. It's about building reliable paths back to those facts when you need them. To recap, we learned that retrieval cues help you access stored memories. Priming activates related ideas, context can support recall, and your internal state can influence what comes to mind. If you want to practice what you learned today, check the links in the description for Quizlet's memorization guide and study tools designed to help you remember it longer. Keep learning, keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next video.